welcome. We'll start with 2014 paper 1 section B. Now section B this time was more or less simple. Most of the questions were direct. So we have the questions here. The first question was explain the concept of mental maps. Now mental map was the concept given by Gold and White, and they tried to explain that mental maps is a kind of extension of the behavioral approach, and explain that objective knowledge must be incorporated with the subjective experiences or perceptions that a person has. So once an objective knowledge and subjective perceptions are mixed, we can discriminate or demarcate places that a person has visited and that a person has never visited. So I might have some ideas regarding how people interact, what they eat, what they wear, how they behave in a region where I have been, and I might have certain perceptions about the region where I might not have been. So all this was explained under the concept of mental map. We have discussed this under the behavioral approach, so you can refer this link for further details. The next question is, give an account of food security issues in developing countries. Now this diagram shows the major countries which are hit by malnutrition and the number of children hit by malnutrition in the various countries. So as we can see, most of the parts of Africa, South Asia and South America are hit by the problem of malnutrition. The basic reasons being the lack of purchasing power, the issues with agriculture. So you have large labor force and then you have larger GDP that occurs, but still the agriculture there is highly underdeveloped. Then there are issues related to export and taxation, which inhibits the production in agricultural field. Lack of subsidies to the farmers is another issue that India is working around recently. There is an issue on how to maintain low food price so that everyone can afford the food items, and protection and subsidization, as I said, in developed nation has affected the agriculture in the less developed countries. Now here are some of the ways by which you can resolve the food security issues in the developing nations. Some of these include green box policies, export subsidies, the Marrakesh decision, the accession to WTO. So I'm just referring the important points here. You need to elaborate these and mention these in detail. Now next is, discuss the factors responsible for counter-urbanization. So when we say counter-urbanization, it means moving away of people from the city areas to the rural areas. Now what are the push reasons or the reasons that motivate people to move away from the city? The major reasons include higher congestion, more of traffic problems, pollution problems, higher crime rate, and the increasing land values, which makes it difficult for people to find affordable housing in urban areas. However, what are the factors that attract people to the rural areas? The first of all is the better quality of life, more greenery, you have safer and pleasant environment, lesser pollution, lesser crime rates, lower land values, so you have affordable housing there, and more businesses are nowadays locating to greenfield sites, which are the expansion of the urban areas or the periphery of the urban areas. So these are some of the pull factors for the people to reside in the countryside. Now next question is the relevance of top-up and bottom-down approaches in development of agrarian economy. Now when we talk about the two approaches, we have discussed this in detail in our postal course. So bottom-up approach is an approach that moves from development of a rural area to the development of an urban area. However, a top-down approach talks about how the penetration or the growth effect is moved from an urban area and it affects its nearby vicinity. So you have both the parameters, the bottom-up and the top-down approaches. Most of the planning that India incorporated was based on top-down approach. However, of recently it has been believed that bottom-up approach is a more successful way of planning because you have options of inclusive growth, that is a priority these days, and Niti Aayog is working firmly on the bottom-up planning approach. The next is critically analyze the applications of models in geography. Now when we talk about geography, you have numerous models, like you have Weber's models, Kristall's models, Rostov's models, so on and so forth. Now why they are important in geography? They try to simplify, describe and analyze the complex concepts. They also cut off the language barrier or the communication barrier, making it simpler for more and more people to understand. They help to represent the reality of the systems, create a kind of generalized picture which helps to predict the observations. They act as bridge between the theoretical observations and the observed observations. So these are some of the important highlights because of which we try to apply models into geography. Now next is explain the conditions necessary for takeoff and subsequent stages of development. So this is a direct question which asks about the Rostov's stages of growth. So you can refer this lecture for details. The next is discuss environmental and economic problems associated with coal production. Now when we talk about coal production, environmental issues is one of the major concerns, because when you are mining coal, there are numerous gases that are being released into the atmosphere, and that harmful gases affect the surrounding atmosphere. Also, the gases released lead to climatic changes and cause global warming. You have release of sulfur and carbon gases. Then you have the acid mine drainage that occurs, which runs off the effluents from the coal mining region into the sewage and the nearby water areas. It leads to degradation of groundwater. The slurry that is released again goes to groundwater and causes pollution. Now, these are some of the issues which are related to environment. When we talk about economic issues, first of all, it is disproportionately benefiting the better off section of the society. Also, when coal is burned for electricity, you have corrosion of the copper circuits that takes place. This led to failure of numerous motherboards in computers and was in concern in the recent years. Again, it leads to health issues because the workers working in the coal mine suffer from coal workers pneumoconiosis. That is one of the major occupational hazard of the coal mining regions, and we also call it black lung disease. So they have the lungs that are affected. So these are some of the major environmental and economic problems that are associated with crop mining, the crop production. The next, coal production. The next question is discuss the contribution of geographers in the development of radical geography. Now we have talked about radical geography in detail in this lecture. Again, a kind of very direct question. The next question is again a direct question which talks about system analysis and the examples that explain the system analysis. Again, a direct question explained in this lecture. Now this question you have to kind of relate your knowledge from urban area and the rural area. So the question asks, rural sustainability is necessary for urban sustainability. Now rural sustainability would lead to higher agricultural growth, and that agricultural growth would ultimately reach the urban areas and the urban marketplaces. So it's very important that the rural sustainability is good. So if you have good rural surroundings and good rural development, ultimately the city development would be affected, because you have numerous agro-based industries, you have agriculture producers coming into the markets of the urban areas. So what is important to understand here is you have a kind of integrated development approach. So what you have to explain here is basically the integrated development approach. When we talk about the recent developments in integrated development approach, we not only focus on the integrated development, but we focus on integral development. That means a kind of cumulative development of rural area and the urban area. You should provide adequate farm credits to the farmers. They should be able to maintain the supply to the rural areas. There should be a kind of single management system that should be monitored, and they should be made technology savvy so that they can use more and more techniques into the farm production and increase the livelihood for the countryside area. The next is Indo-Gangetic Earth is considered to be one of the world's richest cultural realms. Now this question directly and indirectly is related to cultural geography. However, what is important here, you have to bring in a kind of historical backdrop. You have to explain how Indo-Gangetic plain got originated, and what was its importance in the historical perspective. So we can say this region was the land of Indus Valley civilization. So you have civilizations that have been cropping up in this region, not only from the present time but from days beyond. So this has been later on you had Afghans, Persians and Turks that came in and mingled with the people which were the native people of the region, which were mainly Hindus and Buddhists. This region was also the origin place for numerous religions, that was Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism and Sikhism. Again, you have a kind of diversity that can be seen in terms of languages. You have Punjabi, Hindi, Bengali, Maithili, Bhojpuri, Braj and Urdu, that are some of the common languages that are seen under the Indo-Gangetic region. And you have this region which is kind of diverse in agriculture with numerous agricultural production and one of the richest agricultural zones in the world. So these are some of the basic ideas that you have to bring up while explaining the question that deals with how Indo-Gangetic Earth is one of the richest cultural realms of the world. Now the next question talks about qualitative and quantitative methods to delineate the spheres of urban influence. We have talked this in ample detail in our postal course, so you can refer that. Again, there are some models that you must mention in this question. Those are the Hough's model, gravity model and the breaking point theory. The next question is, world is passing through a global resource dilemma, comment. Now when we talk about the global resource dilemma, we talk about the lack of raw material and the lack of trained youth. We have numerous youth potential that is coming up, but the training is the actual training they lack, and that is one of the reasons that we have a kind of resource dilemma. Also there are numerous issues which are related to food and water. So what is important is we must have a kind of secure, reliable and affordable supplies of energy. So you should have a kind of sustainable development that you must focus here. Again, there should be a transition to low carbon energy systems, that is due to the climate change we need to move on to methods which use low carbon systems like renewable sources of energy. And again, definitely globalization is one of the major driving force for the shift of energy patterns. So you must mention all these points under this question. Now next question is again a kind of critical evaluating critical question where you need to kind of do a kind of analysis. Food productivity with purity of ecosystem is the need of the hour. Now definitely we are producing numerous food products. However, the issue is what is the level of purity. That means if I am using NPK fertilizers, for example, they are getting deposited into the first order food chain, then you have the second order and the third order organisms. So at every level you have a kind of biomagnification that occurs and bioaccumulation of pesticides and fertilizers that occur. So there has been a focus on organic farming and organic fertilizers, where you type of use kind of biogas or biomanures as the fertilizers, which do not harm the atmosphere or the ecosystem. So our aim is to conserve the ecosystem. All the impurities, as I said, leads to biomagnification and bioaccumulation. And as we see the population is increasing, you have more and more people who require the food items. So you have to increase the production of food items. So you have genetically modified breeds that are coming up. These genetically modified breeds also affect the soil quality. So you must refer the, you must talk about how you are genetically modifying the seeds, so they are drawing more and more nutrients, so the soil is getting depleted of the resources. So degradation of land areas takes place. We should also be able to manage the uncertainties in the atmosphere, the ecosystem, and again there should be incentives and subsidies that should be a prime focus. So these are some of the basic highlights that you must cover in this answer. In the next class, we will discuss the 2014 paper 2. For any questions or doubts, you can leave those as comment below the video. Have a good day ahead.